Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Our session today is going to be about nutrition. So if our volunteers want to start leading this, we'll just wait for a couple more people to trickle in.
Our presentation is going to be about nutrition, and our icebreaker question is, if you could eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? So you guys can put your responses in the chat. Pizza. Caviar. That's interesting. Fruit. Ramen. Depends. Yeah. Avocado. Okay, a lot of people are saying that it would just depend. So potatoes, rice, carrots. True, pizza can have any toppings. One meal or one food? I guess it could be one meal, since technically, like, pizza could be a meal. Caviar crackers? Bowls? Maybe he's referring to, like, a burrito bowl? Okay, yeah, so those are all good answers. Now we can go on to the table of contents. So first we'll start with an overview of nutrition and a healthy diet. Then we'll go into types of vitamins and nutrients, and then overall benefits of a nutritious diet, disorders and myths, and then questions and conclusion. So just before we get started, let's go over the unit of measure milligrams. So a milligram is a 1,000th of a gram. And for reference, as seen in the photo above, there's 422 milligrams of potassium in a medium banana. So now let's go ahead into an overview of nutrition.
So what is nutrition? Nutrition is the study of nutrients in food, how the body uses them, and the relationship between diet, health, and disease. Nutrition also focuses on how people can use dietary choices to reduce the risk of disease, how allergies work, and what happens if a person has too much or too little of a nutrient. Why is it important? Nutrients provide nourishment, so if people do not have the right balance of nutrients in their diet, their risk of developing certain health conditions will increase. A healthy diet throughout life promotes healthy pregnancy outcomes, supports normal growth, development, aging, helps to maintain a healthy body weight, and reduces the risk of chronic diseases, leading to an overall better health and well-being.
Many of you may have seen this diagram before. This is the general outline of how your plate should be divided. Keep in mind everyone is different and the amount of food you will take in will depend on your age, gender, height, weight, and your amount of physical activity. The first component you should have on your plate is fruits. Fruits are low in fat and sodium, and they're also a great source of nutrients such as potassium, fiber, vitamin C, and folate. Eating the right amount of fruits in a healthy diet can lower your risk for heart diseases and protect against certain types of cancer. The second component you should have on your plate is vegetables. Vegetables are low in fat and calories, and they're also a good source of potassium, dietary fiber, vitamin A, and vitamin C. Vegetables have many of the same benefits as fruits do, such as lowering your risk for heart disease and protecting against types of cancer. The third component you should have on your plate is protein. Foods that are full of protein include meat, poultry, seafood, nuts, and soy products. Protein is not only full of nutrients, but it's also a building block for your bone, skin, muscles, cartilage, and blood. Different sources of protein will give you different nutrients, so it's important to have a variety. The fourth component you should have on your plate is grains. Foods that are in this category include bread, pasta, rice, and tortillas. Grains provide a good source of nutrients such as fiber, minerals, and B vitamins. Having the healthy amount of whole grain can lower your risk for heart disease, and it can also help with healthy digestion. The last component I'm going to talk about is dairy. Some foods in this category are milk, yogurt, and cheese. Foods like cream cheese, butter, and sour cream are not part of this category because they contain high amounts of fat and little calcium. Dairy is a good source of calcium, phosphorus, zinc, potassium, magnesium, and other vitamins. These nutrients promote and improve bone health. Next, we'll be moving on to calcium.
Let's talk about calcium. Calcium is a vitamin that all living beings need, including humans. It is the most abundant mineral in the body. People need calcium, and it is obtained through food that contains calcium. These foods include dairy products such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, green leafy vegetables, fishes that you can eat the bones of such as sardines, and in bread and other grains such as wheat, pasta, rice, and oatmeal. The amount of calcium one should take slightly varies based on their age, but it is good to take around 700 milligrams of calcium per day. It is important to note the amount of calcium you take, though, because taking too much calcium every day results in nausea, constipation, and vomiting, while taking too little can result in pain and muscle weakness. Taking enough calcium, however, has many benefits. These benefits include better bone health, maintaining strength, muscle contraction, improved cardiovascular system, lower blood pressure, and better cholesterol. Calcium helps bone health because it allows bones to grow, develop, and helps maintain their strength. It helps muscle contraction by helping the proteins in the muscle carry out contraction. Calcium improves the cardiovascular system by helping the heart function and relaxing the muscle that surrounds blood vessels. It makes sure your blood pressure isn't too high and helps regulate cholesterol levels, a type of fat in the blood. That was all for calcium. I hope you learned something new.
All right, so now we're going to move on to vitamin A. Also known as retinol or retinol acid, vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin that is found naturally in a variety of foods. It's made up of a group of several carotenoids, most notably beta-carotene. You might be wondering what foods are enriched in vitamin A. These foods include some fish, such as salmon, leafy green vegetables and other vegetables, like carrots and broccoli, fruits, dairy products, and fortified breakfast cereals, which are cereals that have vitamins added to them. For men, their recommended daily intake of vitamin A should be 900 micrograms, but for women, it's 700. For reference, one medium carrot contains about 250 micrograms of vitamin A. In children, the recommended daily intake is less, and for pregnant women, the recommended daily intake is more. However, some people do not get enough vitamin A daily, especially those in poor nations. Symptoms of vitamin A deficiency include dry skin, frequent infections, and even blindness. Consuming very large amounts of vitamin A all at once can also cause problems, including drowsiness, irritability, headache, nausea, and vomiting. Lastly, vitamin A supports normal vision, the immune system, the cardiovascular system, and other organ systems. Thanks for listening. We'll now move on to potassium.
While potassium may commonly be known as a chemical element, it is also an important mineral that functions as an electrolyte. It can be found in the foods you eat. However, your body doesn't produce potassium naturally, so make sure to consume the right amount of potassium-rich foods and beverages. Some good foods to eat that contain a lot of potassium include lean meats, whole grains, and vegetables. An adequate intake of potassium is 3,400 milligrams per day for healthy adult males and 2,600 milligrams per day for healthy adult females. Consuming too little potassium can lead to serious health issues. However, taking in too much can cause temporary or long-term health problems. For low potassium levels, a doctor may prescribe the mineral in supplement form. If you have a severe deficiency, you may need IV treatment. Potassium deficiencies can also occur due to factors like kidney diseases, excessive sweating, diarrhea, or vomiting, magnesium deficiency, and use of antibiotics. Signs of a potassium deficiency include extreme fatigue, muscle spasms, irregular heartbeat, and constipation, nausea, or vomiting. Potassium overdose may occur when you intake too much potassium. Risk factors include taking too many potassium supplements, kidney disease, prolonged exercise, chemotherapy, and diabetes. People with potassium overdose, however, rarely have any noticeable symptoms. Potassium is very important for the body. It helps regulate fluid balance and is important for the nervous system. The nervous system relays messages between your brain and your body, hence explaining why good potassium intake is crucial to maintain healthy nerve function. Now, let's move on to the importance of vitamin B.
Hello everyone, now let's learn about vitamin B complex. Vitamin B complex is essentially a group of B vitamins that influence red blood cell growth, how energy is processed, and cell creation. Vitamin B complex is composed of 8 different types of B vitamins. It is not simply one thing. As you can see on the table, there are different numbers indicating each type of B vitamin that helps our health. You may recognize some B vitamins like biotin, which has been marketed to promote nail and hair growth. Or you may recognize folic acid, which is an essential vitamin that helps our body create new red blood cells. If you were to have a deficiency in folic acid, you could develop folate deficiency anemia, where you don't have enough red blood cells to deliver oxygen throughout your body, and you can get symptoms like fatigue and numbness or pins and needles in your hands or feet. By now, you probably understand that the B vitamins and vitamin B complex are essential to sustain your health and bodily functions. So how do you obtain these necessary vitamins? Well, B vitamins can be found in dairy, like cheese or milk, meat, beans, shellfish, eggs, whole grains, and much more. Although the amount that you should consume largely depends on the type of B vitamin and your gender. For instance, it is recommended for women to take in 14 milligrams of B3, while it is recommended for men to take in 16 milligrams. However, it is recommended for both genders to take 400 micrograms of folic acid, so it really depends on what you're targeting. Additionally, pregnant women and elders may be recommended to take more vitamin B. Similar to how vitamin B complex can come from amazing foods, it provides amazing benefits to our body too. B vitamins can help with cell growth, hormone production, energy, and red blood cell growth. As I mentioned before, it is recommended for pregnant women to take in more B vitamins because it actually helps with fetal brain development and reduce the chances of birth defects. And before we go on to the next slide, here's a small fun fact. A majority of foods high in B12 are animal products like meat or dairy products. Thus, it is known that vegans or vegetarians will need to find other sources of B12, such as vegan foods that add B12 or B12 supplements. That's all for vitamin B complex. Now let's move on to magnesium.
Hi everyone, now we'll be going over magnesium. Just like calcium and potassium, magnesium is also a well-known chemical element. It is a mineral critical to keeping blood pressure normal, bones well-built, and the heart steady and healthy in order for the body to function. You may be wondering where magnesium is found. Well, magnesium is found in green leafy vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and fish such as salmon. Fun fact, magnesium is also found in dark chocolate. As studies have shown, it is rich in magnesium, and it is especially beneficial for the heart as it contains flavonols, which is an antioxidant that prevents bad LDL cholesterol from oxidizing and sticking to your arteries. So how much you need depends on a variety of factors such as your age, gender, and health. As a basic overview, from birth, both female and male infants need about 30 milligrams. For children, both females and males need about 130 milligrams to 240 milligrams. For teens, females need about 360 milligrams, while males need about 410 milligrams. For adulthood, females ranges from 310 to 320 milligrams, while males ranges from 400 to 420 milligrams. For elderly, it is about 320 milligrams for female and 420 milligrams for male. Please keep in mind this is just approximate. Magnesium can also help the following, such as lowering blood pressure, reducing risk of heart disease because it has strong anti-inflammatory properties, In fact, studies have shown those with the lowest magnesium level had higher risk of death due to heart disease. It can also improve sleep quality, combating migraines. Migraines is a feeling of your head throbbing on one side of your head. Lastly, it may also reduce symptoms of depression as magnesium helps regulate your brain function and mood. Of course, taking in too much magnesium is bad for health as well because it can cause irregular heartbeat, low blood pressure, or fatigue. So make sure you are conscious of your intake and also check up with your doctor from time to time. All right, that's about it for magnesium. Hope you guys learned something interesting. I'll be passing on to Emma.
Hello, everyone. We will now be moving on to water-soluble vitamin. It has so many benefits, so let's talk about exactly what it does. Well, first of all, it helps protect your cells and keeps them healthy. It's a powerful antioxidant, meaning it can boost the immune system. Another role is that it helps your body to absorb and store iron. It also helps maintaining healthy skin, bones, cartilage, blood vessels, and muscles. So how much vitamin C do you need? Well, the amount you need will depend on a few things like gender, age, and health. Males ages 14 to 18 are recommended about 75 milligrams per day. Females ages 14 to 18 are recommended about 65 milligrams per day, and children ages 9 to 13 are recommended about 45 milligrams per day. And for perspective, an orange has about 50 milligrams of vitamin C. Now, where can you get vitamin C? Well, lots of fruits and vegetables are a great source of vitamin C. Some of the main ones are broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and papaya. However, vitamin C are an upset stomach, headaches, and cramps. Well, that's all for this, and we'll be moving on to phosphorus.
Now we move on to phosphorus, one of the many minerals in your body. This mineral is the second most plentiful in your body, right under calcium. This is largely due to its purpose, which is to strengthen your teeth and bones alongside calcium. Phosphorus also has other purposes, such as balancing the pH or acidity of your blood, and turning fat, carbs, and protein into energy. Since phosphorus is very important, we require a large amount, especially when we are growing. At the 9 to 18 year range, we need 1,250 milligrams of phosphorus every day. Once we stop growing, we only need 700 milligrams. So where can we get phosphorus? There are many sources of phosphorus. Natural sources are the most ideal. These can be meat, dairy, beans, grains, and nuts. Notice how all of these contain a high amount of protein. Artificial sources are processed foods such as snacks and sodas like your typical hot Cheetos because of how manufacturers add phosphorus to them. And of course, supplements. You might be wondering if one were to have too much, and because of how your body works and needs a balance of calcium, vitamin D, and phosphorus, your body can pull calcium from your bones to balance your blood if you have too much phosphorus. This leads to weak bones and bone disease. If you have too little, you'd have similar symptoms, such as weaker bones, as there would be less of one of the main building blocks to your bones. There are also other symptoms such as fatigue and pain. To keep phosphorus balanced, your kidneys regulate your phosphorus to your body. That's it for phosphorus. Now on to vitamin D.
Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin that is naturally present in a few foods and is produced when UV rays from the sunlight strike the skin. A few types of food that naturally contain vitamin D are fatty fish such as salmon, trout, and tuna. Other animal-based foods such as beef, turkey, and eggs also have small amounts of vitamin D. But the most common way people in the world meet their vitamin D needs is through exposure to sunlight. Some expert nutrition researchers suggest that approximately 5 to 30 minutes of sun exposure, particularly between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. either daily or at least twice a week, to the face, arms, hands, and legs without sunscreen, or around 15 micrograms of vitamin D daily, usually leads to sufficient vitamin D synthesis. But despite the importance of sun for vitamin D synthesis, radiation is important. UV radiation is a carcinogen, and UV exposure is the most preventable cause of skin cancer. But why do we need vitamin D? Well, vitamin D is responsible for increasing your body's absorption of calcium, magnesium, and phosphate. Vitamin D deficiency can develop when intake levels are lower over time than recommended levels, exposure to sunlight is limited, or when kidneys cannot convert it to its active form. Vitamin D deficiency can lead to bone abnormalities, diabetes, high blood pressure, and more. That's all for vitamin D. Now on to iron.
Now let's move on to iron. Iron is a mineral the body uses to make hemoglobin, which is a protein found in red blood cells. Hemoglobin helps carry oxygen from the lungs to all parts of the body. Iron also makes myoglobin, which is a protein that provides oxygen to muscles. Iron helps us with concentration, reducing fatigue, restoring sleep, boosting immunity, and much more. Iron is super important in our bodies, and the body's main source of iron is obtained from food containing high amounts of iron. Some of these foods include lean meat, seafood, whole grain foods, white beans, spinach, nuts, and many more. In some cases, some people don't obtain enough iron naturally and can develop iron deficiency or even anemia. In this case, one would take iron dietary supplements so that they absorb enough iron. Another important thing to do is to get your blood drawn regularly so you can monitor if you have enough healthy blood cells and aren't low on iron. Some groups of people who are more likely to not be getting enough iron include pregnant women, frequent blood donors, people with cancer, heart failure, and infants. Healthy men need to take about 8 milligrams of iron per day, and women need about 18 milligrams. The more rapidly that children grow, the more iron they need. However, it's important to note that too much iron can also be dangerous to our bodies. Possible risks include constipation, nausea, vomiting, and damage to the liver. Moderation is key. Now let's learn about vitamin E.
Hi, now we're going to be talking about vitamin E. So what is vitamin E? Vitamin E is a fat-soluble nutrient that is found in many foods. It is a very important nutrient. It is important to vision, reproduction, and the health of your blood, brain, and skin. The reason why it's so important is that it's an antioxidant. For those of you who don't know what an antioxidant are, they're substances that protect your cell against the effects of free radicals. Free radicals are molecules that damage cells, such as tobacco smoke and radiation. Free radicals also play a role in heart disease, cancer, and other diseases. Vitamin E helps protect and slow down the processes that damage cells and prevent the diseases in the future. For an average adult, the recommended amount of vitamin E is 15 milligrams. For kids, it's around 10 milligrams. If a person takes over 1,000 milligrams of vitamin E, or the exceeding amount, it can cause severe complications such as blood thinning and increase your risk for stroke. If a person is deficient in vitamin E, it may cause nerve and muscle damage, which is really dangerous. Some examples of foods that contain vitamin E include vegetable oil, meat, poultry, eggs, fruits, vegetables, wheat germ oil, and sunflower seeds. And here's a fun fact. Vitamin E deficiency is very rare and actually occurs in people who have digestive issues and is usually not caused by their diet. People who have these deficiencies usually have Crohn's disease, liver disease, cystic fibrosis, and other rare genetic disorders. That's it for vitamin E. Next up, we have the benefits of a nutritious diet.
So now that we've gone over some of the parts of having a nutritious diet, we can look at the benefits of it. One benefit of a nutritious diet is better heart health. Eating foods such as vegetables, fruits, and greens can reduce blood pressure and lower the risks of coronary heart disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, and strokes. You can also do these things by eating fat-free or low-fat products, minimizing your saturated fats and trans fats intake, eating less foods and drinks with added sugars, and limiting your sodium intake to around 2,300 milligrams daily. Consuming foods with fibers can reduce risk for heart disease, strokes, obesity, and type 2 diabetes, while limiting trans fats can reduce the risk for heart attacks and coronary heart disease. Lowering sodium intakes can help lower blood pressure. Another benefit of a nutritious diet is that it lowers your risk for certain types of cancers. For example, consuming foods with vitamins A, C, and E, beta-carotene, and lycopene can reduce the risk of liver cancer, colorectal cancer, and gastrointestinal tract cancers.
Some foods with these vitamins can be berries such as blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries, greens and vegetables, pumpkins, carrots, nuts, and seeds. A nutritious diet can also improve your gut health. Some types of bacteria in your colon produce vitamins K and B, which will benefit the colon. By eating foods with certain types of probiotics that can help these types of helpful bacteria thrive in your colon, you can actually improve your gut health. These foods include yogurt, kimchi, miso, kefir, sauerkraut, and vegetables. The fiber in these types of food also helps regular bowel movements, which can help prevent bowel cancer and diverticulosis. Eating nutritious food can also help improve your memory, as a study in 2015 found that eating foods with vitamins D, C, and E, omega-3 fatty acids, flavonoids, and polyphenols, and fish can help protect against cognitive decline, dementia, and memory loss. Weight loss can also can come with a nutritious diet, and having a medium weight can help reduce the risks of chronic health issues, as obesity can sometimes lead to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, poor bone density, and some types of cancers. Many healthy foods that can help you maintain a moderate weight are vegetables, fruits, and beans. And a nutritious diet can also help a person manage diabetes if they have been diagnosed with it. Healthy diets can help manage blood glucose levels, keep blood pressure and cholesterol within a target range, completely prevent or delay complications of diabetes, and maintain a moderate weight. Keeping a diet with lots of calcium can also help prevent bone or teeth issues in the future, and some foods that are rich with calcium are low-fat dairy products, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, canned fish, tofu, and legumes. Other foods that can help strengthen bones and teeth include vegetables, nuts, whole grains, and seeds. Healthy sleep can also be disrupted if you don't have a nutritious diet, as caffeine and alcohol can disrupt a night of healthy sleep, and you can develop sleep apnea, which occurs when the airways in your body are blocked while you sleep. And finally, a benefit of a nutritious diet is having a better mood overall. A diet with high glycemic loads and carbohydrates found in soft drinks, cakes, white bread, and biscuits can trigger effects of depression and fatigue. And that's all for the benefits of a nutritious diet, and now we'll be moving on to nutritious disorders.
As we've seen the importance of nutrition and how many benefits it offers, that also means that without the proper nutrition, a number of problems can arise. There are a few nutritional disorders, all differently related to nutrition. First, there is malnutrition. Malnutrition is a condition where the body isn't taking in a sufficient amount of vitamins and minerals, such as the ones we went over, which are necessary for your organs to function and your tissues to be healthy. Malnutrition causes stunted growth, weakened immune systems, and affects the body's systems as well as the senses. Another nutritional disorder is malabsorption, which is when people aren't able to absorb nutrients from their diet. Malabsorption can result in things such as fragile bones, iron deficiency anemia, and weight loss. Iron deficiency anemia is actually another type of nutritional disorder. Iron deficiency anemia is when the body doesn't have enough of the mineral iron. When there isn't enough iron, the body can't get enough oxygen, which can make you more tired often and more difficult for you to breathe. Some other nutritional disorders are disorders of vitamin absorption, disorders of protein digestion, disorders of metal absorption, disorders of fat digestion, and disorders of amino acid absorption. All of these things, vitamins, protein, metal, fat, and amino acids, are essential to keep our bodies happy and healthy. Without the digestion of vitamins such as vitamin A or D, there could be stunted bone growth or bone diseases. Without absorbing amino acids, on the other hand, someone could develop digestive problems, grow slower, have a lower mental awareness, have decreased immunity, and more. Lastly, obesity and growth problems are some of the more common nutritional disorders. Obesity can then lead to a number of different health conditions and have big effects on your functions, memory, mood, and more. Overall, without getting the proper amount and right nutrients, it can result in a number of different nutritional disorders, all having bigger effects, especially on your growth. That covers nutritional disorders. Now we'll move on to nutrition myths.
Here's a list of statements about nutrition and diets, and I want you to guess if the one I say is true or false. Write your answer in the chat. Let's start. The main goal of a healthy diet is to help you lose weight. What do you guys think? If you said false, you're right. The main goal of a healthy diet is to get you the nutrients, energy, and the food you need to be healthy as an individual. Eating healthy means that you are able to get through a day with enough energy to feel happy and not hungry or overly full all the time. While some people might be prescribed a diet that includes weight loss, that's not the goal for everyone. It might just be what the individual person needs to be happy and to get to a point where it's healthy for them. Some people even have the opposite. A lot of people are also on diets with the intent to gain weight because that's what they need as an individual. And then some people change their diet and what they eat with no intention of changing their weight, but just to feel less hungry or less full, or to feel happier and have more energy from foods that make them feel good. Now, let's move on to the next statement. A 1,200 calorie diet is healthy and promotes healthy weight loss for teens and adults. What do you guys think? This is false. 1,200 calories is actually what the average 2-year-old should be eating a day. This child and these people should not be eating the same amount, and the adults and teens will not have enough energy to properly function the whole day eating the amount that a 2-year-old does. Let's move on to the third statement. Eliminating fat and/or gluten from your diet entirely is healthy. Do you believe that this is true or false? This is false for many reasons. Let's start with gluten. Gluten is a protein found in many grains, including wheat, barley, and rye. Unless you have celiac disease or gluten allergy or sensitivity, there's no real reason to cut gluten out of your diet. There's no evidence that cutting gluten out improves your health or prevents disease, and many gluten replacement foods are actually less healthy and contain less folic acid, iron, and other nutrients, and they have less fiber. So there's actually might be more to lose by cutting out gluten than there is any gain. Next, let's talk about why the statement eliminating fat entirely from your diet is healthy is false. First off, there are many different types of fat, but the main 3 categories are unsaturated fat, saturated fat, and trans fat. Fat is an essential nutrient to our bodies, and fats make up the membrane that surrounds every type of cell in your body. And without fats, the cell can't function properly. Even certain vitamins, such as A, D, E, and K, are fat soluble, which means that they need fat in order to help the body transport, store, and absorb them. There are some unhealthy types of fat that people should limit their consumption of, such as trans fat and some saturated fats. But if you see an ad or a post on social media or anything really that says cutting fat out of your diet entirely is healthy, you're looking at false information that's not going to help you get the nutrients you need to survive. It's usually just big companies who want to make money off of vulnerable people who don't know that that's not true. This is why it's important to educate people on what is actually nutritious and has value to your body. If you're seriously worried about your fat intake, gluten intake, or any other nutrients, talk to a doctor. For example, your pediatrician if you're under 18, or even a nutritionist, which is someone who is trained in and specializes in nutrition. Next, let's move on to the statement, everyone needs only 2,000 calories a day. What do you guys think? Is this true, partially true, or false? This is actually only partially true, and let's talk about why. 2,000 calories is an average, and you know how averages are calculated. You look at every number on the spectrum from highest to lowest and calculate the one closest to the middle. There's always going to be people on the highest and lowest end of the spectrum, and what's average is not always right for everyone. People have variation in their needs, and that's why on most food products in the calorie section, it says your daily values may be higher or lower depending on your calorie needs. Nutrition and calorie variation depend on things like activity level, gender, and age. It's estimated that adults need anywhere from 1,600 to 3,000 calories a day, which is a huge difference from 2,000. In addition, teenagers or people who are pregnant often need much more nutrients and food than 2,000 to get through the day, as do people who are sick or recovering from a sickness. Let's move on to the final statement, because this is one you'll see everywhere. Skipping meals is a healthy way to lose weight. This is entirely false. Not only is it not safe, it doesn't actually make you lose weight. According to Peconic Bay Medical Center, when you're eating, you're not just filling yourself with food to satisfy your hunger, you're giving your body vital protein, carbohydrates, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and everything else you need to live a healthy life. Losing all these nutrients can have negative effects on your immune and cardiovascular systems, as well as increase the risks for some types of cancer. In addition, you become at higher risk for diabetes, and your blood sugar levels will drop, which can have huge impact on your mood, energy, and stamina for things like activities or even talking to people. Skipping meals also doesn't help most people lose weight because it causes insulin resistance, slows your metabolism down, causes you to store fat and burn muscle so you can stay alive and functioning. Your bodies try really hard to keep you alive, and humans are meant to eat food, no matter what ever-changing beauty or diet culture standards tell you. Your body wants and needs you to eat on a consistent basis and will reward you with better health and a faster metabolism. Let's move on to the next slide and see if anyone has any questions.
So does anyone have any questions or a slide they'd like to go back to see?
I think there might have been a little bit of lag during, I think it was the vitamin C slide. So if anyone needs to see that again, you can just leave it here for a minute. Yeah, blood oranges are a good source of vitamin C, as are other types of oranges, and tangerines too, yeah. And then we can also send out like a short description of what was included in this slide, in case anyone missed it. Yeah, Zachary, I think a lot of citruses do contain vitamin C. No, we're not going to do a Kahoot because I think we have 3 minutes left, and I don't think that's enough time to do a Kahoot, but we can definitely try to incorporate it in future presentations if you guys like. Okay, and if you guys do have questions, you guys can feel free to put them in the chat or contact us. I think right now we'll just go over some of the resources that we have through our social media, and then we can close because we have less than a minute left.
So you can find our Instagram at Youth and Pre-Med, the website, the same thing, and the email, and then journals at the Weekly Med. And next week, our presentation will be on mental health, and that's on May 2nd.
Thank you everyone for coming. You're free to go. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.